Does Gi-hun deserve death? Is it true that many players didn't deserve to die in Squid Game? What if player number 222 had survived Squid Game and made it to the finals? Today we'll answer these questions and more. And most importantly, like, the ending will definitely surprise you. And let's start with the most controversial death of player number 388. As we know, he was strangled by Seong Gi-hun during the game of hide and seek after an argument and accusations over the failed rebellion against the system, and he definitely didn't deserve death. Or at least certainly not like that. As you remember from the very beginning, he lied about serving in elite military forces, lied to fit in with the strong crowd. He wanted recognition from others. He just didn't want to seem weak and helpless like many of everyone who was in the game. 388 didn't set anyone up, and the fact that he didn't bring ammunition during the assault doesn't mean he deserved death. Seriously? Anyway, if we start developing theories about this whole situation, he shouldn't have been sent alone. Fear took hold of him, and the others just dumped all the blame on him. Actually, if we're being honest. Yes, Deok-soo was helpless, but that was the essence of his personality, as revealed to us by the authors. His death changed nothing. The assault plan wasn't thought out from the start. Everyone who died in that assault did so of their own free will. They agreed to it themselves. And Deok-soo was just an ordinary guy who wanted to appear strong. Especially since, according to his stories, he grew up with a father who wanted him to be manly and strong. 388 just wanted to prove he was capable. He definitely didn't deserve death. Of course, he definitely wouldn't have made it to the finals with his character in Fear, but it would have been better if he hadn't died at the hands of Gi-hun. But because he sacrificed himself for someone, 007 or Young-sik. Well, this is a really sad story. Dying at the hands of your own mother is the worst thing that can happen. Arguably, such a death was the most unexpected in the hide-and-seek game. When I watched the series, I definitely didn't expect that. His death is one of the most undeserved, and with that, probably everyone agrees. Young-sik was a very kind guy who loved his mother deeply, and let's not take into account that he was a mama's boy. That's obvious anyway. But he's a truly honest player compared to many. Did you even see how he played hide and seek? Young-sik was afraid to even move around that whole maze despite having a knife in his hand. He couldn't kill anyone the whole time, not because he didn't find anyone, but because he simply didn't want to kill anyone. But at the end, it was as if he was ready to kill Junhui and was even already swinging, but his own mother didn't let him do it by killing him first. Let's speculate. Is it true that Young-sik could have killed Junhui? I think not. He wouldn't have been able to do it, especially since he saw she had a baby in her arms, and definitely wouldn't have struck. But his mother overreacted and stuck her hairpin right in his back. What a twist. Anyway, he definitely didn't deserve his death. Well, like, dying by your own mother's hand is an interesting twist, sure, but it would have been better if guards had shot him for not finding anyone. You can drop your thoughts on this topic in the comments. I'll definitely read them and might comment on a couple in a video. But now, it's our beloved Junhui's turn. Junhui did not deserve her death. Under any circumstances, she didn't come to fight for money, didn't chase a chance at wealth, didn't think about how to outplay or destroy others. She came to save the life already beating inside her. This wasn't a fight for herself, it was a fight for her child. For him to survive, for him to be born somewhere, somehow, but alive. And in this hell among murderers, betrayals, and filth, she remained the only reminder of humanity. She gave her son to Ji-hoon during another game and left. Not because she gave up, but because she wanted to save at least him. In a game where everyone saves only themselves, she did the opposite. She didn't survive, but she won. Because she didn't become a beast. Because she remained human. She did not deserve death. This is largely the fault of the management who let her play the next game. They shouldn't have sent her to play. After all, according to the game rules, everyone must be in equal conditions, and she had a broken leg. You can watch my previous video where we break down the topic of game rules and how management violates them and invents new ones. Exactly in this situation, the rules were broken, agree? She couldn't move, I'm not even talking about jumping. The finale would have been awesome if she had survived. Imagine that in the finale, her ex-boyfriend Gi-hun and she, with the child, were left. That would have been more interesting and realistic. Probably Junhui was my favorite player in Squid Game. She somehow complemented the whole atmosphere. Plus, she's just beautiful. Alright then. 125, or Min-soo. His story isn't as loud as Junhui's, but that doesn't make it any less sad. If you recall, Min-soo acted like a shadow almost the whole time. He didn't get into conflicts, didn't show off, didn't shout, didn't act out. He just walked along with everyone, stayed afloat. In each game, he acted cautiously, didn't betray, didn't humiliate other players. And it seemed that precisely this type could make it to the finals. Not the strongest, but the quietest, the most patient. But in the final game, everything went wrong. His mind, after taking the drug, started failing him. He began getting lost, confusing reality with the game, seeing things that weren't there. We know that before this, he never took drugs and had nothing to do with narcotics. So he started having strong side effects, which, by the way, helped him win in the hide-and-seek game. He started taking them to feel more confident, but unfortunately, it destroyed him. And what's most hurtful, Min-soo didn't do harm to anyone. Absolutely no one. He didn't betray, didn't hit, didn't set anyone up. He survived not by breaking others, but simply because he wanted to make it to the end. And even when everyone around started losing it, he remained calm. And this calmness is what destroyed him. He didn't deserve to die. Anyway, Min-soo is one of those characters you don't notice right away, but remember later with a lump in your throat. Who agrees? Write in the comments. Interesting how you perceived it. Hyeonju. Now this is perhaps one of the most cruel and unjust deaths of the entire third season. And not because she died suddenly. There were plenty of those. But because she died stupidly for nothing. After committing one of the most humane acts in this game. If you forgot, I'll remind you. It was Hyunju who helped Junhui give birth to her child. Alone, without doctors, without help, in conditions where there's blood, cameras, and weapons everywhere. She could have just turned away, could have left Junhui to die, but she stayed. She did everything to bring that child into the world, and essentially, thanks to her, that baby survived it all. And now let's remember how she died. Killed by Myung-gi, just like that. In the back. Hyunju was generally one of the most interesting heroines. She had military experience, but she didn't charge headlong. She chose to help, support, protect. In any other story, she would have been the hero. The one shown in the finale, standing with a flag and surviving because she did everything right. But not here. Not in this system. Here, the good ones just die out. And that's unfair because Hyunju could have gone further. She wasn't stupid, not weak, not broken, but she was killed simply because she was in the wrong place at the wrong time. The system fears those like her the most. Hyunju definitely did not deserve her death. This was a real loss. 149, Jumja. So let's start with the facts. She killed her own son, Young-sik, player 007, a hairpin in the back. Moreover, she did it not out of malice, not to win. It was an instant, instinctive decision. Perhaps she thought he was going to kill Junhui with the baby and couldn't allow that. Here, maternal pain kicked in, but not towards him anymore, but towards the child in Junhui's arms. But here's an interesting thought. Could she have understood beforehand that everything was heading for catastrophe? Perhaps she already felt before this that she was losing her son, that the game was changing him. And when she saw him raising the knife at Junhui, for her, that became the final confirmation. Interestingly, the series doesn't show her last minutes. We don't see her preparing for suicide. We don't see tears or words. Simply the next morning, she's already hanging. And this makes the viewer imagine for themselves what was in her head. What was she feeling? Guilt? fear, emptiness, or everything at once? And now here's a question for discussion. What if she hadn't killed her son? What would have happened next? Would Young-sik really have hit Junhui? Or would he have stopped at the last moment? Anyway, the more you think about it, the deeper this moment becomes. Jumja is a cool old lady who died not even from failing in the game, but from inner pain and torment. For her age, it was surprising that she passed so many games and managed to survive. Now Seonyu, that very shamaness whom many for some reason called a nun. Honestly, she really annoyed me, like right from the start. In every episode, she walked around, muttered her prayers, rolled her eyes, acted like she knew more than everyone, though in fact she just scared those around her. Instead of interacting normally with the team, or at least doing something useful once. And, well, like, yeah, an annoying character, but even such people don't deserve death, especially like this. To die at the hands of Minsu, and by mistake. Minsu was all in hallucination, scared, on edge. And what does this shamaness do? She just deliberately poisons him. I'm sure Minsu didn't even understand who it was. He was high, just chilling high. He didn't want to kill. Seonyo started belittling and poisoning him herself. Minsu remembered how Namgyu also poisoned him and finished her off. So yeah, even if she was annoying, her death, that was outright nonsense. And in this, perhaps, is the main gag of the third season. It's not the weaker ones who die, but those who simply had the bad luck to be near someone else's fear. And now, I want to talk about number 100. Im Jung-dae, a typical two-face player, smiles to your face, offers cooperation, but behind your back leaks information to others. He truly deserved his death. He didn't just want to survive, he wanted to win at any cost, and he didn't care who we had to sell out, deceive, or push over the edge. Whoever agrees with me will put a like. It's all facts here. The exact same thing applies to player number 203. This character definitely wasn't among those you could empathize with. And if there's a player in the third season whose death evokes not tears, but a satisfied nod, it's him. He deserved his death. In the finale, when the real slaughter began, he once again tried to manipulate others, pitting players against each other to stay on the sidelines. He didn't fight. He pushed others into the fire to keep himself clean. But this time, the trick didn't work. He was found out and pushed off. The death of number 203 wasn't a tragedy, but a consequence. He simply got what he deserved. Nothing more, nothing less. And yes, he wasn't the worst player, but he was precisely that type of person because of whom good players died. You're probably waiting for me to talk about Gi-hun. So here it is. Gi-hun deserved his death. And not because he was bad, but because he himself chose a path that had no way out at the end. Remember where it all started. He became a symbol of resistance, started a rebellion, inspired people to fight. People believed him, people followed him, and many of them died. He called them into battle, promised to break the system, but he himself didn't fully know what he was doing. The plan was half-baked, coordination zero. And whom did he blame? Himself? He dumped the blame on number 388, Deok-su, that very one who got scared, ran away, but didn't do anything evil. Gi-hun hung the responsibility on him to stay clean himself in front of the others. Like that. A leader who betrays the weaker one. And then there was a chance. A real one. The frontman gave him a knife. Before him were players who had crawled into the finals by betraying others. Gi-hun could have ended it. He looked at them, knew they didn't deserve to survive, and still didn't press. And in the very finale, he did give his life. For the child's sake. For Junhui's sake. So that at least one person would come out of this slaughter alive and blameless. So yes, Gi-hun deserved his death. Not because he was a scoundrel, but because he remained human anyway. And in that lies his tragedy. He was too human for this game. He wanted justice where it doesn't exist. He believed he could win without bloodshed. He died because he couldn't break the rules. And because he didn't want to become like them. Write your thoughts in the comments. See you soon.